It's now the beginning of October 2015, so it's time for me to shoot another monthly update video in which I tell my viewers and subscribers about some of the key things that went on in September and about what we've got coming up in October. Now, this is a particularly momentous time, as I'll tell you in just a moment. This is probably the very last of these update videos that I'll be shooting from New York, at least for the foreseeable future, because, as you know, we're moving. So let me launch right into the big three things that I want to tell you about first, and then I'll tell you about September and then about the rest of October. So, of course, the biggest thing is we are moving cross-country about the midpoint of October. We get our big moving truck on the 13th or so, then start loading it up with all the effects of our life, in essence. And then we travel cross-country to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where we are going to be living from this point on, at least for the time being. My wife and I are both originally from Wisconsin. We're actually both from the greater Milwaukee area. I grew up west of Waukesha. She grew up east of Waukesha. So I was growing up in the country. She was growing up in the Milwaukee suburbs that were still a little green spacey at the time. And so we're really looking forward to this move. It's going to open up some great opportunities for us. It's going to place us closer to our old friends and, even more importantly, to our families who, for the most part, live out in that area. So that is one really big thing coming up. Another thing I would like to put on your radar is that if you haven't been following the half-hour Hegel video series up till this point, you probably want to start getting into it now, in part because we're now tackling some of the most famous portions of the phenomenology, the master-slave dialectic, and much of October will in fact be exploring that dialectic. So if you have any interest in Hegel, German idealism, philosophy, dialectics, any of that sort of stuff, you probably want to at least tune in for those videos. The third thing is that we are getting ready this month for something that's happening next month, at the beginning of next month, and then for us running the rest of the month, and that is Stoic Week 2015. Stoic Week is now scheduled for the first week of November. It used to be scheduled for the last week of November. And it was started by these people involved with the modern Stoicism movement and the University of Exeter. They created a blog, they created a course, they created a handbook, they created all sorts of really cool stuff, and they offer this free to the general public. They also coordinate events, and they publicize and coordinate with people who are offering events at other places, and I will indeed be offering some Stoic Week events, but I'll tell you more about that come November. In any case, what I'm doing is I'm getting ready for the launch of Stoic Week, where I'll have a series of videos coming out, and I'm also going to be releasing an open access class that I'll tell you more about in the October section. What went on in the month of September? So September was a pretty busy month, as they always turn out to be for us. I had 3 events, one of which was entirely online, one of which was, you might say, out there in the ether, and one of which was an on-site face-to-face event. So the first one was the final Understanding Anger series lecture, which was on Thomas Aquinas, hosted by the Kingston Public Library. That brought that series to a close, and then afterwards we went out to lunch, and I, said my goodbyes to everyone. They were a little bit sad that I was leaving the area, but it's been a really great discussion group, and that brings to a close a 9-video, 9-session series on anger in ancient and medieval literature, philosophy, religious writings. It was really a great thing to do. So that was a great event. I did a Theology Matters radio show, a guest appearance, this time talking about my book on the Christian philosophy debates of the 1930s and some of the key issues, who was involved, why there were debates in the first place. I'll put a link to that so you can access it if you want to. I've got, a sound recording of it. And I did another half-hour Hegel public question and answer session. My once I've passed a certain level of support from my Patreon backers, I committed to offering these Google Hangouts where anybody can come and ask questions or engage in discussion about Hegel's phenomenology or broader topics. So those are the 3 events for September. I also committed to and managed to pull off doing more blogging and getting my blogs a bit more tidied up, fixing layouts, improving the viewability, as they call it, of the blogs. So I did some writing in my main blog, Erexis Dianoetike. I also did quite a bit of blogging in the Half Hour Hegel blog. I wrote one entry in the Heavy Metal Philosopher blog, which is good because that's my side project. And then I also resuscitated the Virtue Ethics Digest blog, which has been just sitting out there doing nothing other than, garnering views from people who are looking at it and saying, I wonder when this guy's going to write something again. Well, I finally did get to write something this month. I also have been doing a lot of work on academic writing, tidying up some proposals that I have to send out, also working on 2 papers that I'm going to be presenting this month that I'll tell you about in the October section. So what else? I started teaching 3 classes online. Now all of my teaching is online, which is very convenient since I'm moving. I'm teaching 2 sections of Worldviews and Values, which is a more or less like an intro to philosophy class. I tend to focus a lot on social theory and social and political philosophy in it. Those are for Marist College, and I have a whole crop of students in both of those sections. It was such a popular class, they had to open up 2 sections. I also am teaching a Global Center for Advanced Studies Philosophical Foundations class. That's that class that I developed that gets people sort of a good map or lay of the land of, the main areas in philosophy, what some of the key issues are, and what some of the key thinkers on those issues would be. That one will run all the way through December. I did quite a bit of video work. I released 6 half-hour Hegel videos that took us through the end of the first section of self-consciousness and into the master-slave dialectic, or lordship and bondage. We didn't actually get this month up to the point where Hegel mentions lord and bondsman, or master and slave, because it takes him about halfway through that section to introduce that. But the dialectics have been quite important. I've continued releasing videos on Plato's Symposium, the course that I taught earlier this summer in August. I created a lot of core concept videos on the symposium, and I've been gradually putting those into the public domain. I still have some that I need to do that with. And of course the Understanding Anger video I released, that brings that series to a close, which is kind of cool to be able to say. And I did a video that was rather new for me, something that I've never done, an unboxing video. It's unlike many unboxing videos in that I spent a lot more time more or less ruminating about why the objects were important to me. It was about a banjo case, a new banjo case that I've got. And so I talked about the old banjo case and the banjo and why it's meaningful to me. Has to do with my father and his original purchase of the banjo and him playing it, and then my taking it up after he died and continuing to play it to the present. I did not, unfortunately, get the promised, what would I call it, current events video done. I just haven't had the time, given all that I've been doing, getting ready for the move. I also didn't produce any more critical thinking videos, and I think those are going to be on hold for a little while until everything is set up in Milwaukee. So what did I spend my time doing? A lot of putting things into boxes. You notice the bookshelves are completely bare, except for the few books that I tell myself that I need. I probably don't actually need to have all these here, but you know what it's like being a bibliophile. You never want to be without your books. And it was a traumatic experience to have to, well, 2 things. To have to take all those books and take them off the shelves and say, I'm not going to have access to this for a while. And then I had to load all of those into my Outback and drive them to the storage area, which is kind of like our staging zone for the move, because our apartment here is too small to have a lot of boxes piled up everywhere. So we rented a storage area, and I have moved something like 90 bankers' boxes of books into there, a whole bunch of other things, number of bigger boxes that sort of, I would say, like 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot cubes full of stuff. So practically our whole life is there. I've even we took a lot of things to donations at the Buddhist Center up the road. So it has been a major divestment, at least as far as the apartment is concerned, of all the accoutrements of our life. And it was good for me in part because I got a lot of working out done through that. I'm not somebody inclined to exercise much, and I certainly got a lot of exercise. So that was the month of September. Let's talk now about October. What's coming up during this month? I have 3 events, 2 of which are actually connected with the same conference, but they're on different days, so I'm going to call them 2 separate events. And one of which is an online event towards the end of the month. On October 9th, I am going to be giving a paper in the Gabriel Marcel Society satellite session of the American Catholic Philosophical Association, being hosted in Boston, Massachusetts. On October 10th, I will be giving another paper, one on Kierkegaard and his philosophical fragments in the International Etienne Gilson Society. And so we've got both of those going on. It's going to be a great conference. I might do some video work actually about the conference, or even possibly some interviews with people that I know who might be up for that sort of stuff. Staying in a pretty swank hotel downtown. The ACPA tends to have a history of having you stay at pretty upscale places. And so I want to make the most of the opportunity that I can in doing a lot of networking, but I'm going to be giving those 2 papers. So if you're in Boston and you want to see me talk, you can come to these sessions. I don't think that anyone would keep you out. Towards the end of the month, October 28th, I will do another half-hour Hegel public question and answer and discussion Google Hangout. I'll be offering it thanks to the generosity of my Patreon donors. So those are the events. Not an awful lot going on as far as events this month, but that's in part because the biggest event is not a public one. It's not involving me talking. It's my wife and I and our pets moving cross country from the Hudson Valley of New York, where I'm shooting right now, all the way to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's a return home, like I said, for us, since we're originally from the area. So it's going to open up a lot of opportunities, and I would like to at this point say, if you are somebody who's wanted to connect with me in the past and you live in the Milwaukee or Chicago area or even the Midwest in general, send me an email, greg@reason.io, and I'm going to be looking for speaking opportunities and opportunities to partner with organizations to do the sort of work in bringing philosophy into practice that Reason.io does. That's our company. So, by all means, do that. I also would suggest, if you're interested in getting on our mailing list, send me an email as well. I'm still teaching my classes this month, the two sections of the Marist Worldviews and Values and the one Philosophical Foundations class. But I'm also, like I said, getting ready for Stoic Week. So here's where I'm going to tell you about what we've got coming up. It's really quite cool. Stoic Week itself is a really great event, and I strongly suggest getting involved with it, even if you're not a Stoic. I'm not myself a Stoic. I'm more of an Aristotelian. There's also a whole conversation there that could be had. But Stoicism is a great ancient school of philosophy. There are a lot of modern proponents of it, and it's being sort of rethought and relived in the contemporary setting. So, I would suggest getting involved with that. They offer a free 7-day Stoic, mindfulness, meditation sort of class that you can get in on. This time it's going to focus on Marcus Aurelius's meditation. So really quite cool stuff. I'm going to be in the class. There's a lot of other major philosophers who will also likely be in the class, people who have an interest in Stoicism. Now, after that, I'm also going to have a Stoic Week event in November, but I'll tell you about that in the November video. But after that, I am going to have a 4-week, entirely online, open access course offered through the GCAS, and it will be free. And it's going to be on Stoicism, specifically on Epictetus's Enchiridion, not his Enchiridion, specifically on Epictetus's discourses. I will talk about the Enchiridion, but that's, not that big of it. Here are here's the discourses. Now, of course, this gives you a little bit of a overstatement visually about how big this text is, because this is the Loeb edition with the Greek on one side and the English on the other, so, half it. So the discourses would be a volume about this size, readable during a month, and that is what the Enchiridion was excerpted from. So we will talk about the Enchiridion, but we're going to mainly focus on the discourses. It is going to be a really cool class. If any of you have taken classes with me before, you know I provide students with a ton of resources. I shoot videos, I hold discussion sessions. So that's what I'll be building this month to get it ready for next month. That leads me to videos. So half-hour Hegel, I'm on track to produce another 6 half-hour Hegel videos this month. I think we will probably finish up with the master-slave dialectic and move into Stoicism, skepticism, and the unhappy consciousness, which is great because that means that we'll be doing that during the time that Stoic Week is going on. I still have quite a few Plato Symposium videos to release, and so you can expect to see those this month. I do want to try to shoot a current event video this month. We'll see how that goes. I can't make great promises given the move and all the uncertainty that comes up with that. But I will also be shooting a lot of videos on Epictetus's again, on Epictetus's discourses. I may as well shoot some on the Enchiridion too, but I will be shooting videos on the discourses precisely for that course, and I will be shooting a sequence of videos for Stoic Week that I'll be releasing in November during Stoic Week. But if I have the time and I get all the symposium stuff released, I will probably start releasing some of the Epictetus discourses core concept videos ahead of time, just to give you a little teaser about what's coming up. I still have the St. Anselm footage that I need to assemble, edit, and release as an interview video. I've been sitting on that for about, 3 months now, 4 months now. I need to get that out, so that may have to wait until we finish the move, however. That's everything that's going on in October. So pretty busy month, pretty momentous. I'm really looking forward to this move. I am most looking forward to having moved, not actually engaging in the move, because I'm not looking forward to 2 days of long driving where my wife is in our car and I'm driving the big truck on my own, not entirely on my own, but by myself. And then, stopping off halfway. And I'm not looking forward to hoofing boxes and all that sort of stuff. I am really looking forward to being in a cool apartment in Milwaukee and getting to see old friends and family anytime that I want to. And having the internet set up and a nice kitchen and things like that. But that is going to wait. Again, like I said earlier on in the video, if you're in the Milwaukee area, the greater Milwaukee area, so that would also include the Fox cities in Wisconsin, that, all extended as far as Madison. If you're in the Chicagoland area and you want to connect up with me, best way to do that is to email me at greg@reason.io. If you're interested in having me come and give a talk at a school, at a library, church, I do all sorts of venues. If you got events that you want to organize, if you're interested in hosting providing a workshop, I'm game for all that sort of stuff, so reach out and contact me, and we'll talk about it. Otherwise, have a great month of October. I hope to see some of you at these events, at least the online event, And if I don't, I'll see you on the flip side of the move.